Good morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m. It's Monday morning. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. This is Brunanskys Vlog. We're going to give it a second just to wait for that green light to kick on that says we are up and running. We've got a good stream feed here to YouTube. So let's give everybody a second to hop into this morning's brand new show. And then we will be rocking and rolling with movie news, reviews, and a little bit more. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with you. All right, and we are back. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. This is Brunanskys Vlog live on YouTube. It's 10 a.m. We are going to get started. But before we jump into this week's episode, where we've got a lot to talk about and 2 movie reviews, let's go ahead and get the commercials out of the way. So if you have not yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button right here on this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future content that drops throughout the week. Also, if you aren't, be sure to follow us on Twitter as well as the Stardust app. So if you go to the movies and you see those trailers and you wonder, I wonder what Jeremy thought about those movie trailers, that's Stardust is where I do all of those reviews. So you're going to want to head over to Stardust, check those reviews out because I got, I think, over 150 up right now. So lots of content on the Stardust app, Brunanskys Vlog. Check it out. Find us there. Also, again, be sure to follow us on Twitter, and that way you can stay connected with Brunanskys Vlog throughout the week. And then again, every Monday right here on YouTube, 10 a.m. PST. You can find us talking movie news, reviews, and a little bit more. Also down below in the description box, as we go through this show, you'll see a lot of different links for a lot of different articles, etc. You're going to want to be sure to follow along with us there as we go through today's news stories. But before we jump into that, we are going to take a look at the box office. This weekend, I was able to get out to the theater to see 2 films. We're going to talk about those a little later in the show. That was Upgrade and Action Point. So that's what I was seeing. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is happening in the weekend box office to see what you guys were checking out this weekend. All right, so down below you'll see the ticker tape. If you guys want to go ahead and keep your eyes on that, that's the honorable mention section, and that is news stories that popped out that I thought were pretty cool, but didn't really want to dive too deep into on this week's show. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box office. Again, this is top 5, coming in number 5 to number 1. Coming in number 5, we have Book Club with $6,800,000. Number 4, Avengers Infinity War at $10,371,000. Number 3 is Adrift at $11,510,000. Deadpool 2 comes in at number 2 at $23,325,000. And Solo, a Star Wars story, still able to keep the top spot at $29,296,000. So not great for Solo, a Star Wars story, right? That's not, I mean, it came in number 1, so that's cool because that means people still got out to see it. But when you look at it from week 1 to week 2, we've got a pretty significant drop of 65%, according to Box Office Mojo. So 65% is a pretty intense decrease. So what does that mean? Is that you'll look online, right? If you different news sites and everything, people are writing op-eds about, is Star Wars in trouble? Is this Star Wars fatigue? What's going on with Star Wars? I don't really think there's a problem with Star Wars. What I think is there's just a lot of competition. Right, you've listened to these movies: Deadpool 2, Avengers Infinity War, Upgrade. Let's see. We also have Rampage is still out in theaters. Black Panther's still out in theaters. There's a lot of films competing with Solo, and these are all similar films, right? These are comic book characters. These are fantasy characters, video game characters. So there's a lot of competition for Solo. So I'm not necessarily going to rest my laurels on Star Wars fatigue, right? But I will say that this film was just okay. I enjoyed it. Out of everybody in my family, I think I was the only one who didn't love it. I was like, it's fine. It's a fine movie. It didn't wow me, but I didn't walk out of the theater like, oh, well, that was garbage. You know, I was just like, okay, that was fun. And that was it. We were over and we were done with it. I haven't seen it a second time. Do I want to see it a second time? Sure. But I'm in no hurry to rush out to the theater, right? And I think that's where most people are. It's just a fun summer movie. They saw it. They're done. And I just don't think that it has the same magic that maybe some people were hoping for as far as Star Wars goes. But go back. My review is on this channel. You can check that out. It's available right now in the movie review playlist. So just head over, check out the movie review playlist, and you can watch my full review there, kind of where I dig into some of the high points and some of the areas of opportunity, right, for this film as to what I saw. But again, considering all of the issues that this film had in production, the final product I thought was pretty good. I mean, when you take into account how much reworking had to go into this film and then what we got, I think that's pretty good. So stay tuned for that. All right. Deadpool 2. Again, I enjoyed Deadpool 2. There's a couple issues in it as far as story goes as to why characters are here, why characters aren't. Go ahead and check out my review for that, but I enjoyed Deadpool 2. Adrift has been getting some pretty positive feedback. That was on my list of films that I might see. I didn't get out to see it, but I'll probably get out to see it this weekend, maybe, hopefully. And then I'll be able to drop my review on the channel for you guys right here on YouTube. Avengers Infinity War. I mean, look, this movie knocked it out of the park. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought they did a really good job. The ending was a nice surprise. I didn't think they were really going to go that far into the ending, letting the bad guy win. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know what you're waiting on. Everybody else in the world has. Get with the program. But yeah, check it out. Avengers Infinity War, my review for that's on the channel as well. And Book Club, hey, you guys are still going out to see it, so kudos there. In the top 10, just real quick, Overboard, Action Point, Breaking In, Life of the Party, and Upgrade. Now, as you're going to hear later in this show, I really enjoyed my time at the movies with both Upgrade and Action Point. So definitely worth your time to check those films out, and you'll hear why later in the show. Life of the Party, my review is on the channel right now for that. You can check it out. Breaking In its fourth week, still in the top 10, and it only had a 34% drop from last week to this week. So the people who enjoy this movie are getting back out to the theaters to see this movie and support this movie. So job well done to everybody there. And Overboard, in its fifth week, still in the top 10 at almost $2 million. It's a fun movie. You can check my review out for that too. I wasn't wowed by it. I had some issues with story and focus, but it was fun. It was fine. No major real complaints about that film, but check my review out for more info. And we are going to move into the first news story now. That's the weekend box office report. Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments below with the weekend box office. And let me know also, what did you get out to the theaters to see? And what were your thoughts about those movies? Try and be as spoiler free as possible, though, in case other people are reading that who have not seen those films. But let's go ahead and move now right into the first news story. So the first news story today is coming to us from The Hollywood Reporter. And this is a movie called The Night Clerk is casting, and they got Jonathan Schaech, and they also have Helen Hunt and John Leguizamo, and they're going to be joining Ty Sheridan in this thriller called The Night Clerk. So if you aren't familiar with this story, The Night Clerk, just real quick, in the article it talks is Ty Sheridan leads the feature as a hotel night clerk, Bart Bromley, and he is on the autism spectrum, and a woman is murdered during his shift. He becomes the prime suspect. As the police investigation closes in, he makes a connection with a beautiful guest, and he realizes he has to stop the actual murderer before she becomes the next victim. That sounds pretty good, right? So you got a murder mystery. There's a nice little twist on it with the main character. It sounds like this could be a lot of fun as far as story goes. It also sounds like it could be really intense drama because of some of the actors they're bringing in. Now, John Leguizamo, I don't really count him off as simply just a comedy actor, because when he was in Chef, I thought he did a good job. But he does lend itself to a little bit more comedy. And then when you have Helen Hunt, Ty Sheridan coming in, you got some action and some high drama there. So everything is looking pretty good. It's shaping up nicely for this film. So curious to kind of see more from this movie as it comes out. Definitely looking forward to it just from that synopsis and the casting alone, though. So definitely check out that article, and we'll stay tuned for more info on this news story as more movie news drops. Coming up next, we have coming to us from Deadline is Universal is picking up the rights to do space opera with Mark Platt and Colin Trevorrow set to produce. Now, this is a book called Space Opera. And again, in the article, it's a fierce musical contest that has arisen in the wake of a great galactic war known as the Metagalactic Grand Prix. Part gladiatorial contest, part beauty pageant, part concert extravaganza, and part continuation of the wars of the past. Species far and wide competes in songs, in feats of song and dance. And, you know, if you fail, you face sudden extermination for the entire species. Earth just stumbled into this new galaxy and in an effort of diplomacy decides to compete, and they send their hero Decibel Jones and the Absolute Zeros to rep the planet as they roll the dice on their fate. Whew, that was a mouthful. All right, so this sounds bonkers, but it sounds so bonkers, it could be really fun, right? Now, if you're like me, the idea of aliens dancing, singing, and gyrating, not really great, right? Because you look at Star Wars, and when they redid Star Wars with the whole like lounge singers and stuff like that motif that they threw in the George Lucas redos, that was awful. But then you look at a movie like Fifth Element, where you've got the giant blue alien singing opera, which was really cool. But you know, you never can tell with these films when you have like a dance off meets a sing off meets a beauty pageant. And that's kind of like the war, right? So there's like this weird vibe that's going on for this whole movie where it seems like it could be so ridiculous it could be awesome. Now, I haven't read the book, so I don't know really anything about the story. Just the premise, the plot of the story alone really just pulled me in because I was like, this sounds so bananas. It could be awesome. It could also be terrible, right? Things that have like that over the top, super weird kind of like ideal just lend itself for me to be like, either this could be so bad it's awesome, or this could be awesome, or this could just be an utter train wreck, right? This could become a cult classic. We don't know, but I like the sound of it. You know, you got this weird dance off. So you've got, yeah, aliens dancing for whatever reason, and then aliens singing. And then what's an alien beauty pageant look like? I don't know. And then the heroes that we send, Decibel Jones and the Absolute Zeros. I love it. I love it. That sounds like something that would have happened in the early 2000s with that whole remake of like when musicians tried to look like the vintage singers from the 50s. I think this is great. It sounds bananas. It sounds bonkers. I'm looking to see who gets brought in to kind of fill out the cast and the director and everything else. But definitely let me know what you think. In the article, it talks about it kind of tones similar to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with a musical component, right? So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. I think this sounds bananas, and it could be super wonderful or it could be terribleness. But I'm hoping for super wonderful weirdness. So let me know in the comments below. Next up, we have A24's Under the Silver Lake. This is coming to us from Variety. Was pushed back to December. Originally, it was going to be coming out this month, June 22nd, and it got bumped all the way back to December. Now, is that a good move? Let's take a look, right? Because right now, there's not really a lot of stuff coming out necessarily that would be in competition with an indie kind of murder mystery story, right? So is the bump good? Is it not good? Well, let's take a look at what's coming out in December at the time this film is going to be coming out. So right now it's slotted for December 7th, and it looks like Mary, Queen of the Scots with Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan, and Martin Compston is coming out, and then also Under the Silver Lake. So you've got two indie films kind of competing for top spot there. Not really a big deal because both of these films are going to be very different from each other, but they will still kind of pull the same audience, right? So we'll have to wait and see there. But right after that, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that's animated, and then Mortal Engines is coming out. So there's two big hitters right afterwards. So and then right after that, Aquaman, Bumblebee, Holmes and Watson, Alita Battle Angel, and then Mary Poppins Returns. So it's got one good week where it has potential to make money, but did they move it because the film won't be widely received in summertime and it may be forgotten about? Or did they move it because the movie just isn't getting the reception they hope, so they're hoping that it'll get buried in the December month, along with all of these other big blockbuster Hollywood Christmas movies? Obviously, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Mortal Engines are not Christmas movies per se, but they're coming out at Christmas time, so Christmas holiday season movies. So I don't know. It's kind of curious because when you're coming out in the summertime, you'd expect these little indie films, they can do really well, right? Because people, we go to the movies all the time and we see these big blockbuster films like Avengers and all these other movies, Deadpool 2. We got Mission Impossible coming out. So there's all of these Jurassic World. There's all of these giant movies coming out. And then you get these little indie films that just kind of pop in. And it's pretty cool, right? Because it's a nice little break. It's more human focused. There's more emotion. There's more drama. You can really like dive into characters more than you're diving into these gigantic cinema, these CGI filled worlds, right? So it's a nice little break. It's a reprieve from just giant monster or comic book heroes or video game movies, right? So there's always that little plus for us as moviegoers when these indie films drop in the summertime. It's a nice little break. But then when you move it from that comfortable little spot in the summertime, possibly, to right before all of these big holiday movies come out, where, because, you know, people are out of school, people are on holiday break, people are traveling for the holidays, so they have more time to spend with family at the movies. So does that lend itself to people going to see this one versus Mortal Engines or Aquaman or Holmes and Watson? And that's going to be, I think that's going to do really well, right? Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly coming back in a comedy about those two detectives. There's a lot coming out in December. So excuse me, I'm not really sure if this is a good move or if this is a safe move, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think. I would have preferred it to stay out in the summertime. That way it could have kind of like ride the wave, or bump it up to something maybe in October or November if they wanted to get any Oscar consideration and Oscar buzz for it. Move it into that time slot so it's getting more attention and more traffic with all of the other Oscar movies. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm a little disappointed it got bumped because I was looking forward to that film. The trailers looked really good. But now we have to wait till Christmas time to see it. So hopefully it won't lose any steam. Hopefully it won't get pushed back any further and we can all get out and enjoy that. And then right afterwards, just get right into the holiday movie schedule and then enjoy Christmas and New Year's. So let me know what you guys think about all of that in the comments section below. All right, we're going to go ahead and move now right into the movie review segment. So get ready. We are going to drop these movie reviews right now. Again, I was able to get out to the theater to see two films, Upgrade and Action Point. So we're going to cut to this and then we'll be right back to talk about what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, what's hitting theaters this weekend, and my personal favorite segment, Certified Rad. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Cybernetic enhancements, neon lights, drones, smart homes, and self-driving cars that crash into other cars on the highway. The future is surprisingly believable in this revenge-fueled story about a man who is left paralyzed after gunmen have killed his wife. So, does Upgrade deliver on all of the action promised in the trailers? Or should we shut this film down and wait for a reboot? Let's talk about it in this review. The movie delivered on all the action I was hoping for, and it actually looked pretty good too, considering the smaller budget that this film had. I won't say that the action is the best part of this film, but it was so good it's certainly worth noting. My personal favorite was actually the story and little twists and turns that take place throughout the film. But back to the action. The way the fight scenes were choreographed, and how they used the camera to actually move with and against the actors, really gave each one of those scenes, those combat scenes, a very unique and stylized feel that really set this film apart from all of the other action and mega blockbuster films currently in theaters right now. And more importantly, it never felt jarring or frantic as we're watching these combat scenes take place. Everything and everyone moved with a purpose, which actually made the visual storytelling of this film much more enjoyable. And the type of action and combat styles that were used in this film did feel believable in this world, considering the background that we get on the characters. As far as the violence in the film goes, there is plenty of that, and I was surprised that there was only one scene that really caught me by surprise, and that's the first revenge kill. I wasn't expecting them to show so much, and we do actually get to see a guy's head almost cut completely in two. But with this film and that level of graphic violence, it did work really well for this story. Another thing that worked really well again for this particular film was the balance that they used with practical effects versus CGI. Considering the story takes place in a futuristic setting where technology is used to help police the citizens with drones, etc., it still felt grounded and believable because, again, of the balance that they struck between practical sets and CGI. it felt more like a real-world setting more than it did a green screen fill-in. And there is plenty of CGI in this movie, but again, it's balanced so well that the vibe of this film really worked. For example, just some of the little touches that they do with CGI. Some of the characters in this movie have eye enhancements, so their eyes actually glow. There's a lot of touchscreen work in this movie, self-driving cars, and more. And again, I can't really drive this point home enough for this movie. Because of the practical sets and how it feels like this movie is taking place in real locations, all of these little touches really worked for this film. There was a pleasant balance and blending of CGI meets practical effects. Again, just job well done. The overall look of the movie is dark and gritty, but there is some color and some vibrancy as we kind of leave the city and we move out to the suburbs. Also, the score of this film takes us straight into vintage town because all of the music in this film felt like it was ripped right out of a 1980s science fiction collection. Plus, there's an appropriate level of humor in this film that just kind of pops up from time to time, producing just the right amount of levity. And it showed us that this film is not a B movie, but there are just enough elements in this film of that particular style to show us that they wanted to have some fun with us as we go on this journey together. It's serious in tone and design, but not so serious that this is just a depressing, dark revenge tale. Upgrade is playing at your local movie theater right now, and if you enjoy science fiction meets action flicks, you're definitely gonna have a good time in the theater with this movie. Because of the unique and stylized approach that they went with in this film, it really sets itself apart from all of the other action films currently in theaters, and you can't mind blood because there's a lot of bloodshed in this action movie. I wasn't really sure what to expect from this movie when I walked into the theater, but when I walked out of the theater, I was really happy that I made the decision to spend some time in this brand new world. The story is entertaining and it's written with some nice twists and turns to really showcase the world building that they did for this particular story, which I very much appreciated. The action sequences looked good, the car chase looked good, the back and forth dialogue between STEM, which is the AI, and Gray, played by Logan Marshall Green, felt fresh, believable, and realistic. My only real criticism of the film is that some scenes just kind of linger for a little bit too long, which kind of slowed down the pacing for some moments, while the rest of the movie is just constantly moving at a pretty quick pace. And this was a style choice by director Leigh Whannell, and that didn't derail my enjoyment of this film. Plus, the creative freedom that he was given to bring this world to life really worked for me overall. And because of that, Upgrade is getting both high fives from this guy. Upgrade is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out. It's the late 1970s in a small woodland town with one new amusement park that doesn't violate any safety regulations. And then there's another one. This story is about the other one. Accident prone, safety not guaranteed, a beer drinking bear, and more. So, does Action Point deliver on the slapstick comedy styles promised in the trailers? Or should this film just been about that beer drinking bear? Let's talk about it in this review. The film begins by showing us that DC, played by Johnny Knoxville, is old and retired. He's babysitting his granddaughter, and during this time, he begins to tell her the story about his amusement park. And from here, the story bounces back and forth between present day and the 1970s. Considering the level of outlandish humor that's present in this movie, there is still a lot of heart. At its core, it's a story about a man who's losing his passion, his park, but finding his heart again by reconnecting with his daughter. So there's plenty of laughs to be enjoyed, mixed with real moments between a father and his child. I was pleasantly surprised with how the story develops, because when I walked into the theater, I assumed this was just going to be a goofball comedy, and it turned out to be a little bit more. This kind of falls in line with other films like Super Troopers, Police Academy, and Ski Patrol, where we see people kind of rallying together to try and save something that they're passionate about, maybe in an unconventional way. And by doing so, they provide quite a few chuckles, maybe even a few laugh out louds. And honestly, I did laugh out loud quite a few times in this movie. All of the stunts completed in the name of comedy were mostly a hit for me. Plus, at the end of the movie, they show some behind the scenes footage of some of the stunts being completed, which was a lot of fun to watch. If you enjoy slapstick humor and you enjoyed the Jackass franchise, you won't be disappointed with this film. Short of Larry, Moe, and Curly just making a surprise cameo appearance to knock each other on the head with lead pipes, this film really does have all of the hilarious, painful moments. However, that's not to suggest that this movie, as far as the comedy style is concerned, is strictly slapstick humor. There's this weirdo pill-popping, hatchet-carrying, short shorts-wearing lifeguard, plenty of animal humor with a bear, dogs, a porcupine, and more. Plus there's some witty banter back and forth between the workers of the park and the guests, as well as some fun dialogue between DC and his granddaughter. Action Point is playing at your local movie theater right now, and I am going to recommend a big screen viewing for you fine folks watching this who enjoy slapstick humor and movies with heart. Like I said, the father-daughter moments really help shape this film into something deeper than just a straight comedy. But again, at its core, it is a comedy. It's a goofy, lighthearted, good time at the movies that's a nice little break from all the summer blockbusters currently dominating the box office. If you want a film that will make you laugh, make you smile, and won't ask too much from you as an audience member, this is definitely the movie for you. Action Point delivered on all of the comedy that I anticipated and I expected. Plus, it showed us that reconnecting with your family can be its own reward. And because of that, it's getting at least 1 high fives from this guy. Action Point is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out. All right, and we are back. Not sure what happened there earlier in the news segment. Something happened with the camera, and the camera just, I don't know what happened, but the audio is still there. The camera went wonkers. Sorry about that, everybody. Hopefully, you know, there's no issue going forward for the rest of the show. We can just kind of continue rocking and rolling here. We should be good to go. So my apologies for that. But since I didn't get any notifications on the comment board or the chat board from you guys, I'm assuming that you're listening more than you're watching. So that's okay too. You're still getting the news from this show. So just real quick before we move into what's hitting theaters this week, what is hitting DVD and Blu-ray this week, and what is hitting Certified Rad this week? Let's take a look at just really quick some speculation news, right? This isn't really news because it's speculation and rumors, so I didn't want to throw it in the news segment. But there is some talk about Matt Reeves' Batman movie, the infamous Matt Reeves Batman movie that's been in the works for a little while here, possibly casting the Penguin as the main villain. Now, we already know Joe Manganiello is cast as Deathstroke if they decide to use him in any future DC films. So there's some speculation going on about, well, what does that mean? Can he still be in the Batman movie? Does he just have to be in Justice League? Well, hopefully he can be in both. But if we do get the Penguin in the Matt Reeves Batman film, there's been a couple people floating around the internet, and that's been Nick Frost, Josh Gad, and Andy Serkis are the 3 big names I keep seeing over and over and over from everybody online about who could be the Penguin. I have a couple thoughts I just wrote down right here. If you have some thoughts, go ahead and throw your thoughts down there as well. And that's going to be, my thoughts are Mike Myers, William Dafoe, Ben Foster, and Alfred Molina. So obviously with some of these guys, right, they're going to have to wear, you know, body suits to make themselves look more Oswald Cobblepotty as the Penguin. But I think all of these guys play curmudgeons really well. And if we're going with kind of the underworld and the gangs of the underworld and everything like that with the Penguin, and maybe he hires Deathstroke, we don't know what's going on there if they're even going to use him. But I think these characters that I threw out all do really well with villains. If you saw Terminal, you know that Mike Myers can get dark and he can play a villain really, really well. So yeah, and then William Dafoe and Ben Foster, they always bring the sauce to their performances. So definitely think they could add a nice element. Obviously with William Dafoe, he's a little bit older, so he would bring a much more kind of vintage, kind of statesmanly vibe to it, right? As far as the Penguin is concerned, as being a crime boss. And then Ben Foster, I mean, whatever you put that guy in, that guy brings A+ games all the time. He enhances performances, and he just is such a talented actor. I think he could really pull it off if, you know, he could fit into whatever suit they construct for him. I think it might work. And then Alfred Molina, again, really talented actor. He's probably a little bit taller than they'd want for the Penguin. I don't know, but I still think he could do a really good job with that. Seeing him get dark, he's a very good character actor. He really dives into the characters he plays. So to see him bring out more of that dark gangster underworld side, I think could be a pretty good move if they decide to go that route. We don't know. Have to wait and see. It's all rumors. It's all rumors. But go ahead and leave your thoughts as to who you'd like to see be the Penguin, assuming that they actually do cast the Penguin role as the main antagonist in the Matt Reeves Batman film. All right, so let's go ahead and also take a look really quick here at one photo that just dropped before we got started here. I'm going to throw it up. This isn't going to look pretty because I didn't have time to make a slide for it. It just popped up, and we're going to show you real quick. This is for Lego Movie, and this is the new Lego Movie, Lego Movie 2. Give me 1 second here, and we'll bring this up. And this is the new poster that just dropped right before this show online. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. It looks pretty good. Nothing majory, you know, nothing crazy or anything like that. Just looks fun, looks fine, but wanted to share it with you. So give me 1 second to pull this up. And we will give you guys a sneak peek into this new movie poster. There's also some new movie trailers that dropped that I'll be reviewing this week. You guys are going to want to stay tuned for, so don't miss those. All right, 1 second. Almost got this up, and then you guys can take a look at it. All right, here we go. And boom, there it is right there. Check that out. Lego Movie, the second part, Lego Movie 2. They come in pieces. So again, not pretty. Didn't have time to put together any slides. Just popped up online, and I was like, we're doing this. This is happening. Here we go. So there you have it. Lego Movie 2, they come in pieces. So how about that? Looking forward to that. If you saw the Lego Movie, you know it was a pretty good film. Really great job by Lord Miller on that one. Really enjoyed it. But let's go ahead and move into the last segment here, which is what's arriving in theaters, what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, and Certified Rad. So in theaters this week, we have Hereditary, Ocean's 8, and Hotel Artemis. Out of these three films, I am looking forward to Ocean's 8 and Hotel Artemis. If you haven't seen the trailer for Hotel Artemis, definitely recommend you check it out. This looks like it could be something really cool, like in the vein of John Wick, when they go to the hotel in the John Wick franchise. And kind of there's the rules, right? You know, it's the bad guy hotel. That's kind of what Hotel Artemis looks like as far as the vibe goes. Lots of talented actors in this film. Definitely worth checking out the trailer for it before this weekend, because this film looks like it could be a really good action flick. And then Ocean's 8 looks like it's just going to be fun. It looks like it's going to follow in the same vein as the Ocean's franchise that exists right now with George Clooney and Brad Pitt and everybody. So this looks like it could be fun. Not overly excited for it, but I am curious to see what they're able to do with this cast, because the cast looks really good. And again, just looks like it could be a fun film. So check that out. And then Hereditary, as you guys know, I'm not really a big horror guy, but it's possible I make it out to the theaters to see this if I don't go see Adrift instead. But let's take a look at what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, because we got a lot hitting your movie theater for your home movie theaters this week. Wrinkle in Time, Everyday, Thoroughbreds, Hurricane Heist, Gringo, and Death Wish. Now, all of these films, very different, right? So Wrinkle in Time, Ava DuVernay's Disney film. Everyday, that's the movie where the person that she's in love with inhabits a different body every day. Thoroughbreds, I didn't see, but it got high praise online. Hurricane Heist, probably going to be great on DVD and Blu-ray. Gringo, I saw that. I reviewed that. That review is on the movie review playlist. Same with Death Wish. Both of those films, actually Gringo, Death Wish, and A Wrinkle in Time are on the movie review playlist. So go ahead and check those out. If you are looking for my personal recommendation to all of those, I would say Gringo. Gringo would definitely be my recommendation out of those 6 films. Because again, I didn't see Everyday and I didn't see Thoroughbreds, so I can't comment on those, but I did enjoy Gringo a lot. So check my review out for that, and then decide if you want to see this movie or not after you watch that review. All right, so now we're going to move into the final topic, which is going to be Certified Rad, right? Because you guys never know what's going to drop, but I can guarantee whatever drops will most definitely be Certified Rad. The link for this is in the description box below, so go ahead and click that box, hit this link. This is coming to us from the BBC News. Double amputee Zhao Boyu makes history on the Everest summit. Now, he tried to climb Mount Everest 40 years ago, according to the article, had to have both of his legs removed. So they had to take both of his legs off from about the knee down. And with the help of the modern prosthetics, he was able to get some legs to actually climb Mount Everest. And it looks like he has completed his challenge. So very cool story about a man who went through a horrible experience, right? Because he had to give up. He got stuck on the mountain, and then while he was stuck on the mountain for a couple of days, he suffered frostbite. Then after that, they also found out he was suffering from lymphoma, I believe. So not only is he already going through one terrible thing, but he goes through something else terrible, and then they had to remove his legs. 3 terrible things. This guy didn't give up. This guy didn't lose hope. This guy didn't sit around and, you know, feel sorry for himself. I'm sure maybe he went through a grieving period, right? Because that would be natural. But what did he do? He picked himself back up. He got some prosthetics. And then 40 years later, he achieved his goal, right? It took some time, but he still got up and he still did it. And what a story. So definitely check this out, because this is inspiring for sure. And when you look at kind of what this guy goes through in the article and everything like that, and then you see his spirit of resiliency and just his determination to come back from such terrible tragedies to be able to achieve his goal 40 years later. 40 years later, he still didn't give up. That's incredible. And you can guarantee when you've got that spirit of resolve and resiliency and you're determined and you're passionate to achieve your goals, you will do it. And that is most definitely certified rad. So check this article out. Again, in the description box below, coming to us from the BBC News. Definitely worth your time reviewing that story. All right, everybody, I'm Jeremy Brunansky. That is this week's brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Again, sorry about that weird mishap. I honestly don't know what happened with the video feed. My camera, the light on it was still going. The stream feed said we were good. I honestly have no idea what happened. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We'll be back next Monday at 10 a.m. PST right here on YouTube with more movie news, reviews, and more. So be sure again to click that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get the notifications once new content drops. And don't forget to check out the movie review playlist for all those movies that are hitting your DVD shelves this week. You're going to want to check those out. Also, Box Office Top 5. I've reviewed most of those films, so you can check those out before you hit the theaters. And you can decide, based on my reviews, if those films are worth your hard-earned dollars and your precious time. So go ahead and let me know in the comments below what you thought about those films, what you thought about today's episode. Do you have comments on the news topics? Who would you like to see as Penguin if they get cast? I'm Jeremy Brunansky. I'm getting out of here. You guys have a great week. And again, see you next Monday morning, 10 a.m. PST, right here on YouTube for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Have a great week, everybody. Until next time, good night and good luck.